Hello and welcome to Sobrix. I'm Adam and this is Sobrix. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the Lego Adventures Johnny Thunders Plane set. This is set number 5911. It has 21 pieces and I paid $10 for this. I bought this used. It was not sealed. I think I saw them sealed on a major aftermarket Lego selling site that maybe in the US the cheapest one was in the 23 or something like that dollars. This I got at a local store for me. I wasn't sure if it was sealed or not. When it was brought out of the case, it was not sealed, but I determined that it was still worth checking out, so I'm excited to have this. I did show a preview of this when I was looking at the Lego City Jungle Explorer ATV, because there is a character in the jungle or the Lego City Jungle stuff that is similar and maybe a reference to Johnny Thunder. So I did want to take a look at this. So this is retired. It is from the year 2000. So this is, almost 25 years old at this point, and it does harken back to a day gone past, in Lego and everything. I don't know what this retailed for when it came out. I'm assuming in 2000 it was relatively inexpensive, but I don't know totally. It seems like maybe it was $3 in 2000, and it was part of Adventures, and then under that it was part of Dino Island, which was sort of a sub theme, and that's kind of interesting there. And I don't think I had this as a child or when I was younger, but I had other stuff that was similar to this. If we look at the back here, it actually shows a couple different of the sets here. So 5911, that's what this box is. 5912, 5913, 5914, and it shows kind of combining elements from all of those into a new vehicle, which I think is great. It also does have, we have some of the other dinosaurs here, the smaller dinosaur that are very rudimentary compared to what Lego molded dinosaurs look like now. So it really harkens back to a different time in the Lego history. So I'm excited to take a look at this, and so that's what we're going to do. So in this video, I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. Because this set is relatively small, I imagine it's going to come together pretty quick, so I'm just going to kind of talk my way through this as we go. So we have the instructions here and the pieces. The minifigure appears to already be put together, and once we get to the full review, I will specifically look at that. And let me check this out. Okay, so we do not have an inventory for all the parts in this set, and I don't know if there's a comic or some other thing from this set, but that is okay. Let me kind of get this all together here, make sure we're accurate, and get this together. It's very few pieces here, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that this is any worse or better than other Lego sets. I think, in terms of value, it's going to be a little bit interesting to think about, just because of what I paid in 2024 is obviously quite a bit different than, or like what's in the box is quite a bit different than a $10 set in 2024. So that is kind of a unique little part of this, and I think that is everything here. I don't know if they were doing extra pieces in the same way, and if they were, it doesn't appear like this set would really have too many, maybe one that I can think of, but we'll go over that. If we look at the back, we can see more of the Adventures Dino Island stuff. So again, looking at like this dinosaur here, you can see kind of what it looks like in scale to some of these other things, like to a minifigure in these images from other sets. So pretty different, but we did have what appears to be like a T-Rex, a pterodactyl perhaps, a stegosaurus or something, and maybe is this almost a triceratops, or it's supposed to be a triceratops. So we have a lot of different stuff here, different vehicles throughout this, and interesting stuff. Oh, here's a maybe a different triceratops type thing. So different dinosaurs there. I think it's to me, I much prefer the modern dinosaurs in the Jurassic World sets and everything like that, but these served their purpose back in the day, that's for sure. And that's everything here, so we will get right into it. So the kind of reason I wanted to get this is partially for the minifigure, so that's what we'll look at first. This is the Johnny Thunder minifigure. I think this is in okay shape. Doesn't feel like it's, there's no cracks or anything, or doesn't feel like the printing has worn off at all. I don't see any like chew marks or bite marks or any other like wear and tear that might have happened over the last 20 odd years that this has been around. So we can take a look at this. This character does have an accessory that's kind of like a revolver here. It's not as commonly used. I think technically it still is a piece that is made. Actually, I think there were some in the more recent Indiana Jones sets. So I know that it's still out there and has been used probably for greebling and other things at various times. So that is that accessory there. And then we have the hat, which is kind of like an Indiana Jones hat or something like that, but it just has the one kind of brim, the flap kind of folded up here. It also has a hole to put perhaps a feather or something like that in there, so you could fit a smaller Lego piece in there. For example, you could put, oh no, not one of those. I think the smaller flame piece can probably go in there, so something like that, and that's kind of unique. It doesn't have anything like that in this set in particular, but that's okay. And then looking at the figure, the minifigure face is interesting. Again, pretty good quality, not like any real wear and tear on here. We have the kind of hair going around, a little bit of sideburns, some hair printed along the top. The eyes are pretty basic, just black printing there, but we get a little bit of an expression with the eyebrows. We have the mouth as well as the mustache there, so that's good. No alternate hair piece for this character, just the hair that is printed on them. Looking at the torso, this is pretty cool. So they have a kind of tan button up down there with some of the minifigure color skin tone, kind of that yellow coming through in the chest area. They do have kind of an ascot or a neck sort of accessory that's going around there. It's kind of off to the side, has a little bow. Shirt has some pockets, some buttons, the collar. They have what appears to be the sort of butt or like handle of a revolver type object printed on here, kind of tucked into the belt, which isn't a very safe way of holding that type of equipment. A holster or something of that nature probably would have been more appropriate, but that's there. And then we do have the belt printed on there. Nothing on the midsection, nothing on the legs. This is actually just black legs here. Arms, nothing on there. Back of the figure, nothing going on here. So not a ton going on. And I did want to compare this to what I think I and many other people were generally considering the updated version of this character. So here we can see that. So right out of the gate, the hat is a different color as well as a different mold. This one feels more like, or is an Indiana Jones hat, and this one is a little bit different. Looking at the face, we have a lot more detail. So we have like the whites of the eyes in there, and the mouth is positioned a little bit differently, slightly up, but the expression is largely the same. We don't have the hair printed on kind of the top, but we do have kind of the sideburns or part of the hair there. We also have some more stubble kind of facial hair going around there. And overall, it's just a much better looking minifigure head, in my opinion. More detail, and we even have kind of a cleft chin mark on this one. So this is the modern one versus the old one. And then the legs are different colors. So instead of black, we went with like a brown type color here. And then the torsos. Now the torso are pretty similar, but not identical. I think the color is pretty close to the same, maybe exactly the same as it's been, but sometimes there's some variations in color. And we have a lot of the key elements here. Noticeably, the kind of printed on, part of the grip of this revolver accessory is absent on the new torso, which I think makes sense given the Lego company's their position on that kind of stuff. The shirt is very much the same, but we don't have it unbuttoned as far, and we don't see any of like the chest skin tone area underneath there. So the shirt is buttoned up, and then the like ascot or little scarf or tie around the neck kind of fills in some of that gap too. It is also just like thicker generally, but in terms of detail, they have kind of a very similar amount of detail there. I think, the pockets are kind of scaled up slightly on the new one, and the line weights are a little bit different. That's same for the buttons and for the kind of ascot there. A little bit of a notch taken out of the collar on this one. That's maybe not present on the old one. And then we do have these kind of crossbody straps, or like this rope or whatever this is kind of going over there. And that too is represented on the newer figure. They're just more defined, much thinner. They feel more intentional. These ones are, I could see being kind of lost in terms of the detail, and maybe not as well defined there. And then we do have the kind of belt printed on the torso as well as the buckle. There's a little bit of extra detail in the buckle over here. And then of course, looking at the back for the modern figure, the back has the back of those straps or that rope or whatever. It also has the back of the belt there, which is absent from the old figure, and a couple other little creases and details for the back of the shirt. So those are the two Johnny Thunders there, and I think it's very obvious that this is sort of a reference or an homage to this character, and I think it's pretty accurately brought up to like modern Lego standards in a real big way. I don't know if there's a particular reason, for example, that like the shirt being unbuttoned or something like that isn't done the same. Lego might have their reasons. I don't necessarily see an issue with that, but that is what it is. I think removing the sort of grip of the revolver type accessory there makes sense, because as I understand it, Lego was kind of having a conscious effort to change their position on real world kind of weaponry and stuff like that. So although they still make the revolver piece, the new one, for example, does not even come with that as an accessory. And we'll kind of place that over there so we can see that. Technically, you do get two of these revolver pieces. I'm not sure if one of them was just kind of like the extra piece you get, or if the set actually came with two, because I don't see any inventory on the box or in the instructions, but all the images I see just has the one. So maybe it's an extra piece, maybe not. And then the rest of the set is this plane. So this is Johnny Thunder's plane. we actually saw in the back of this, if we were looking at all the other sets, there were some other planes that were out there. This is kind of like a glider type thing. This appears to be a plane, but it's got like kind of sidecar type things there where the turbines or the engines might be. So there's a minifigure sitting in both sides of kind of the main body. We also have this plane over here that all appears to be, you know, more robust than the one I have in front of me, and that's okay. I like that there's, you know, a difference of those things, and that makes sense to me. So nice that we can see that, and I just folded this inside out. So let me see here. Oh, whoop. Well, I don't know what I'm doing wrong now. We'll kind of go like this. There we go. And so we have this plane. Not too many pieces in here. I'm sure we could count them, you know, relatively quickly. Starts out with a 2x8 red plate there. On top of that, we add a 2x3 brick, 2x6 plate. We had a 2x4 on the back for kind of the tail wing. We had these angled plates for the wings. And then up at the front, we do add one of these like step pieces that have the axle on the front. We do put the propeller up there so that can spin. Have this nice rounded piece here. We do have the steering wheel there, and then we have the landing gear, which was one of these axle plates, as well as the kind of rim and the rubber, which, you know, these can come off. So in terms of extra pieces that I would anticipate besides the revolver, this kind of wheel well type piece here might be the only other one that I think would qualify. The wheels do spin. They have just enough clearance here. And we do have room for Johnny Thunder to sit on this plane and operate that there. So you can see what they look like on the plane. That's kind of the look we have going on the box, on the official art. That looks about right. And, you know, it can kind of roll, but we do get some drag here from the back. This can be easily swooshed around, and yeah, it's small, it's simple, it's blocky. There's exposed studs, there's no stickers, there's no prints in terms of the pieces here, and it's not especially detailed. It's not you know, really realistic. It's small. The scale here is way off, and that's kind of fun. I mean, there was a reason for that in some ways, partially so it encourages maybe, you know, other creativity to expand on this or to change this around and combine it with other sets. I mean, they very clearly, you know, showed an example of sort of disassembling this and reassembling it with other sets to kind of make something more robust, make something more creative, more original there. And they do have a thing here that's like, just imagine the possibilities that, you know, if one were to have all these various sets, could be accomplished. And, you know, rather than just doing a plane, it could be more of a car, it could be more of all kinds of different stuff. So this looks like a kind of a speedboat, airboat type thing. So lots of good stuff here, and I think that is encouraged. I think for a lot of people, this is the kind of set it's not necessarily a display set, except for people who are nostalgic for this time, or who are like very specific collectors, or something else. I think at the time that this came out, the concept of display-oriented Lego sets was probably pretty foreign, because it took a while before we kind of got there, and I may be incorrect about that. Some of the old Lego sets certainly display fine, but I think play was much more sort of the focus of these things. And yeah, this is a tiny set. It says ages, you know, 6 to 12 is the recommendation here. It is not very many pieces, and that's okay. to me, and it's so interesting to me to see like $10 things, or this one, is $3 in 2000. Now we pay $5 for a poly bag, and a given poly bag might have more pieces in this, a more substantial build, might have IP attached to it that is not Lego's own internal stuff and all that. And so like, is this a poly bag set? Yeah, maybe. I mean, it may be that this in 2024, this would be released as a poly bag. I don't know, but that seems about right. So in assessing the value of this, $3 for this, we don't have anything in terms of Lego really that is in the $3 or sub $5 price point. I think there were some dots sets that were, cheaper than $5, and there's probably a few other ones, but for the most part, for Lego like sets, I think we've surpassed anything sub $5 generally, and I'm not opposed to Lego like having stuff available for less than $5, but it was just a different time. And if I look at an inflation calculator, I don't know in like what this would account to, or amount to rather, but let me see if we can figure this out. Looks like $3 in 2000 is worth about $5.50 today. That's not far off from a poly bag, so that doesn't feel outrageous to me. And I think that makes sense. I think these inflation calendars are, not 100% accurate, but just at a cursory look, that seems about right. I paid $10 for this. It's retired. It was used. It wasn't sealed. It's from 20 years ago, 25 years ago at this point. And so for there to be a premium on this, I'm not concerned about that at all. I'm sure, a lot of these, especially as they get older, the rarer sealed copies become. Same for some of the bigger sets that are represented on the back of the instruction manual there. Some of those might be, very expensive, maybe even surpassing the sort of compensating for inflation like I just did. So I'm fine with that. It seems like a sealed one of these maybe goes for $20 plus in the US, and in other parts of the world in different currencies it might be different. There's probably not that many of these that are known that are still sealed, so it's kind of a niche thing, a unique thing to be able to see. In terms of my value for this set, yeah, I had a great time with it. I got to compare it to a modern set. I got to kind of reach back into a era of Lego that I was an avid builder and consumer of in the year 2000 when this was released, but this wasn't a set that I was that I had, or I wasn't super invested in the adventures line. I was focusing on a lot of other different kind of themes of Lego, so this was a nice look back, and I always appreciate looking at kind of vintage Lego, even if this isn't from the 80s or something. It still is. I would consider this vintage just because it's 25 years old, and I appreciate doing that. And if I have to pay a slight premium for it, I'm not too worked up about it. So in this case, it felt worth it to me. Like I said, we do have the extra kind of revolver type thing here, and that's that. And I think that's it. It's fine. It's great. I really enjoyed this. I really wanted this, and I was happy that I was able to find this, support a local store, and share it with the people that watch my videos. So that's a big thumbs up from me, and I think that's it. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up, give it a like. If you like my other videos, click the subscribe button down below. That helps me a lot. If you want to give money to the channel, there's memberships, there's the Patreon, there's Buy Me a Coffee, there's some affiliate links, all that good stuff. So maybe consider checking that stuff out. It does help tremendously. And with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.